The Minnesota Twins have an author series going on throughout this summer, and tonight we feature an author who has written a book about Charles Chief Bender. You may have heard of him, might be aware that he won over 200 games, had 3 seasons in a row with an ERA of under 1.75, that he's in the Hall of Fame. But I'd be surprised if many of you knew he was the first native Minnesotan to reach the Hall of Fame, born in Crow Wing County in northern Minnesota. Dick Bramer has a chance to sit down with Tom Swift, who wrote the book on Charles Chief Bender.
Well, with this year's Baseball Hall of Fame induction just a little while ago, not many Minnesotans might know that one of the first native Minnesotan to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame was Chief Bender, born in the Brainerd area. And Tom Swift has authored this book, Chief Bender's Burden. And Tom, nice enough to spend some time with us. Tom, tell us a little bit about the first native Minnesotan to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Charles Bender was an innovator, a man who pitched best when the game was closest. He may have invented the slider, pitched in 5 World Series, usually was the guy who got the ball in Game 1 when the A's were in the World Series, made his name in those games. He seemed to always pitch his best during those situations, and he had kind of an air about him that told his teammates and the crowd that he was always in control.
How did he get from Minnesota and the White Earth Indian Reservation at one point to the major leagues?
Like a lot of American Indian children of the time, when Bender was young, he was placed on a train and sent halfway across the country to go to boarding school. He attended a boarding school in the Philadelphia area for about 5 years, came back to White Earth for a short amount of time, and then actually ran away and ended up at the Carlisle Indian School. He spent about 5 years at Carlisle, and not long after he graduated from Carlisle, he was playing semi-pro ball in Harrisburg nearby, and a man with a relationship with Connie Mack saw him pitch, and later on that summer approached him and asked him if he'd like to pitch for Connie Mack the following season. So this Minnesota kid really came out of nowhere. He was 18 still then, Dick. He pitched in and won Major League Baseball games as an 18-year-old. He turned 19 his rookie year.
And he had to deal with some of the prejudices that Jackie Robinson had to deal with much later in time.
Never was there a time, it seemed, when he was written about or talked about, even after his most noteworthy performances, where his race was not part of the story, and usually in a derogatory way, whether in caricatures, cartoons in newspapers, or even just the way writers described his performance and why he was successful.
Now, you're a baseball fan, but why pick up this project?
I never would have heard of the name Charles Bender, Chief Bender, if I wasn't a baseball fan, but I never would have written this book if I didn't meet a really interesting human being, a man who had a fascinating baseball career, and a person who lived a life that I think makes for a really terrific human interest story.
Well, a lot of people think that there's a current native Minnesotan who's destined for the Baseball Hall of Fame in Joe Mauer. Molitor and Winfield are there, but the very first one was Albert Chief Bender, and our thanks to Tom Swift for talking about his newly authored book.